And joining us on Flow FM today, it's great to be chatting to her for the very first time. We have got Codee-Lee. G'day, Codee-Lee. How are you today?
Good, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Tell me, you're away for a while, but you're back now. So what's going on? What happened?
I'm back. I think life just happened, didn't it? I was living overseas. I got married. I came back and unfortunately had to pay the bills. And so music kind of took a little bit of a back seat for a few years, but gave me a chance to write some really amazing new songs. And so I've taken those to the studio and now I'm ready to let the world hear them.
Were you doing any performing or anything while you were overseas, apart from just writing and living life?
I did. I did quite a few gigs while I was there, and I still did the usual pub gigs on the weekends, and they helped pay the bills.
Yeah.
But I didn't really have time to really invest into my own original stuff. So it's been nice to take a moment now. I think COVID was a blessing for me, actually, creatively, because I actually had time to rediscover who I was as a musician.
Okay, and in what way were you rediscovering that? Was it just, going into your inner self and tapping into things, or just influenced by the environment around you? What was going on?
I think it was time. I finally, for the first time in a long time, had a chance to sit and really figure out what I wanted the world to hear. I didn't just want to write songs for the sake of writing them. I wanted to make sure I had something good to say, and so it gave me time to be able to write those songs and really hash out what kind of sound I wanted to have moving forward.
You found your voice, in other words.
I have found my voice.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, and we got there a little bit quicker than I was going to get there, because I'd noted down, listening to the current song that we're all going to hear called Run To Me, and listening to your voice, I got this sense that it was a voice with a lot of experience, that you'd been through a lot, you'd tackled a lot, you'd overcome things, some things you failed, some things you succeeded, but it was a voice of wisdom, and that's the voice that I was hearing in the song. So, and just from what you're saying, I think that could be virtually spot on. I
think you hit the nail on the head. I've been very lucky to have a bit of success when I was younger. I won the Telstra Road to Tamworth heats and was the semi-finalist in that when I was only 14 years old. So, and then 15 I became a grand finalist in the same competition, and I travelled the world playing music, and I've been very, very lucky to have success in my chosen field. But yeah, it's just nice now to look back on that success and grow on it and use all those experiences that I've had in life to kind of create the music I'm making now.
When you're performing to these overseas audiences, as you were for a while there, what's the difference between them and audiences back home here?
I think I was living in America, and it was a small town, and people were really responsive. And I think something that's different in the States is quite often when you play a gig, you play for tips. Yeah. So you're always trying to put on the best show, because otherwise you're going to go home hungry because you haven't made anything that night. So people tend to be really engaged, which is nice, which is a little bit different to the pub gigs I play over here when it's just covers. But everybody's really supportive of country music over there. And so it's just a really nice environment to be in.
Yes, we need that crowd. And if you respond to the crowd and get them going, it works wonders for you. Yeah, I can understand
it sure
that.
Does.
Well, then what did you miss last year, apart from the crowds and COVID? Were you overseas or were you back here then?
I was back in Australia, so I've been back here for a couple of years now. Yeah. And I think the thing I missed the most during COVID was being able to make people happy through performing. I went from playing about 50 gigs a year. In the last 12 months over 2020, I played 4. So it was a dramatic drop for me, and you miss that joy that comes from having people sing and dance and clap and be engaged by the music that you're playing.
And that's when you look out and see the eyes and the smiles and just the expressions, that connection, it's missing when you're not doing it. And I've spoken to other artists last year who they wanted to keep doing what they were doing for their fans, so they would do the Facebook Live thing. And then they were finding that the one thing that, one artist in particular, she said to me, she found she had to stop doing it because her anxiety was going up because she was looking for all the likes and all the smiley faces and the thumbs up. And when they weren't being there, she was starting to freak out that she was doing things wrong and all that. So it's a real different way of engaging. Did you try any of that sort of style of thing?
I never did anything online. I think I shared a similar anxiety with that artist. Okay. But you just cannot recreate live performance. It's just one of those things that you are never going to get the same experience through a screen. I think that Zoom and things like that have opened up so many opportunities for musicians through co-writing online and things like that. But when it comes to live performance, nothing beats playing to a real audience.
Absolutely, absolutely. Just going back to your song, which we're going to be hearing, it's got a real stompy beat that really engages you. And the other thing that I found that right at the very end of the song when it finished, I felt like I just wanted to give you a big hug and say it's all going to be okay. We're going to get through this together. That's just how it made me feel. It made me, I just wanted to give you a big hug.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, this song is actually one that I wrote a few years ago. And it was the last song I picked for the EP, and it just has that line in it in the start of the chorus, your heart beats fast and mine beats slow, and it was just this story of, I kind of thought about my husband and my relationship, and we are complete opposites, and I thought there's so many things like that in the world that are complete opposites, and that's how this song kind of came together, but I just love the beat. It wasn't going to be my initial first single, and then when it all came together in the studio, I knew that it had to be the first single to go out. And it's very fun and catchy, and people can dance along and get engaged.
Yes, it's great. It is a great song, and it's from your EP, which is coming out in a couple of weeks. Your debut EP. So, what else can we expect from the other tracks on the EP?
It takes you on a journey. I've had quite an interesting 12 months. I lost 50 kilos, I ran in politics, I'm now having a baby, so it's been quite a year for me on top of releasing this new CD. And the tracks just take you on a journey of kind of where I'm at. There's a story about how my husband and I met, a story about how I've kind of come out of this 3-year hiatus and I'm back in the industry. And there's also a story of a father and son in there as well, which is probably my greatest song, I'm going to say, that I've ever written. And it's my favourite on the track, on the EP coming out. So it's quite a journey, but it's a good one. And so I'm very excited to get it out into the world.
You certainly have done a lot in the last 12 months. So why did you delve into politics? So I understand why people do it, but I cannot think of anything worse, to be quite honest. But, so why?
You know what? My drive has always been people. Yeah. I have always lived in regional Western Australia, and for me, through music and through other things I've done in my life, you meet so many incredible people, and you need to have strong voices standing in political seats for those people in those communities, and I thought I had one of those, and it was just another thing to put on the resume that I've done, and adds to the experience of life.
And you've probably got 3 or 4 songs in the back of your mind about it, as that experience as well, too, I imagine.
Oh, I think you could write albumfuls.
Yes. Have you noticed a change in your voice now that you're having a baby?
You know what? Not yet, which will be interesting to see. When I lost all my weight, there was actually a process to go through with having to kind of retrain myself on how to breathe properly. And keep the strength in my voice because everything had shifted. It's been such a crazy 12 months to see how everything's different. Yeah. But, it's definitely makes for good music making.
I understand you were once given some advice by Keith Urban. What was that advice?
I was. So when I was 16, I was on The Voice. The first season of it, and he took me aside and had a conversation with me and told me that if this is what I wanted to do, to head to Nashville, and gave me some contacts of some people, and for me to kind of experience what the whole country music industry is in America. And so I took his advice. After graduating high school, I jumped on a plane and I headed to Nashville, and I spent a few months over there, and I wrote songs and kind of got into the underbelly music scene over there and met some great people. And it really did set me up well for songwriting in my career.
Excellent. Did you go to and play at the Bluebird Cafe?
I did play at the Bluebird Cafe, which was amazing. A career highlight.
Tell us how it happened.
So they had opportunities where musicians could come and play, and so I took up one of those opportunities. And it's amazing to sit in such a small room, it's not big at all, and have probably 50 people actually really engaged in listening to what you're saying in your songs. It's a completely different feeling than doing a pub gig.
It's funny that I ask people that I know that have been there, and everyone says a similar thing to you, but it's one person in particular said, I've played in front of large crowds, but one of the best crowds was at the Bluebird Cafe, and it was they said there was only about 30 people there, but they said it was one of just the best feelings playing in that audience. So thank you for sharing that.
Nothing beats it.
What was it like at Times Square though?
Busy and chaotic. It was one of those things. We played really late at night, which was amazing, with all those New York lights surrounding you. But it's those things that I look back now and go, I can't believe I did that in my career, and I'm excited for more opportunities like that to come up in the future.
I think there will be many. Are you doing any shows or anything? Are we going to see you heading east at all?
I would love to head east. That's the plan next year, is to jump in the car and load the family up. But COVID has made things a little tricky to plan, unfortunately. So we are sticking to WA for the rest of this year, and then we will head east next year.
Well, if we want to enjoy your music, we're just going to have to check out your EP, which is landing in a couple of weeks' time. And was there a title to the EP?
Yes, it's called Who Am I?
I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of those tracks, especially the greatest song you've ever written. You've put it out there now.
I have. I've set the bar high now, so hopefully everybody agrees. I
sense we might, just based on what the song we're about to hear right now. Well, Codee-Lee, thank you so much for spending time with us. Good luck with everything and with the baby and all that. Hope all goes well. Hopefully we'll have some more chats later in the year with more music and things, and we'll get to see you over this way one day. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for spending time with us today on Flow. If you could please introduce your song for us.
Well, everybody, here is Run To Me, my brand new single.
The dark will fade away. My heart beats fast and yours beats slow. Everything is moving and I can't let go. Chances are it's do or die. May luck be on our side tonight. Fairy tales, they don't come true. Babe, when you're around, I think that they do. Tiny little flutters in my heart. Ooh, you ignite the spark. My heart beats fast and yours beats slow. Everything is moving and I can't let go. Chances are it's do or die. May luck be on our side tonight. Take what you need. My mind is awake. Your hands still touch the best of me. Take what you need. My mind is awake. You're everything I'll ever need. My heart beats fast and yours beats slow. Everything is moving and I can't let go. Chances are